Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week I decided to grab one of the straps that I was about to return to the bank, and I went through the strap a second time, and I wanted to find how many notes in one strap that I'm returning to the bank would other channels find stuff to sell. And believe it or not, I actually found in one strap 10 notes that I'm returning that other channels are going to tell you are valuable and worth a ton of money, and they're going to try to sell to you, even though they won't buy them themselves. So, like I said, you hear me talking about stuff all the time and saying it's not worth anything. It's very common. Well, I did the experiment. I grabbed one strap and I went through it, and these are the top 10 notes from one strap that some people will say are worth money, and they just aren't. Now, I am going to preface this by saying collect what you want. Whatever you find that you want to save, go for it. Just understand that there is no additional value there. In addition, do not spend anything over face value for these notes because it isn't worth anything, and I found them in one strap. They're not hard to find. Don't let people tell you they're hard to find. Take $100, get yourself a strap. This is what I found. And then when you're done, you can take that strap and return it to the bank, so it costs you nothing. So please stop spending money on this stuff. All right, number 10. Number 10, here's a $1 bill, and the last four digits are the year 2017. So what? This is not a birthday note. People will call this a birth year note because if you had a kid born in 2017, no. Do not spend money on this. That you can have any random number. This would be a 1 in 10,000 shot to have any random number there. So just because it says 2017 doesn't make this worth anything. If it actually had a day and a month to go with it, well, that's different. But just a random year, no, that's nothing. So that is number 10 on the list. Number 9. Let's take a look at this one here. What do we got? This particular note, I'm looking hard. I pulled it for a reason, trying to figure out what the reason was. Sorry for the delay. My brain just completely shut down. The reason this note was pulled is because it ends in 567. You're going to see people telling you that this is a mini ladder. Some of them are going to have 567, some will have 4567, some will have 34567. They're referring to a ladder, which is when you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a note that's worth some money, okay? When you have the mini version of a ladder, no, that's not worth anything. Is it neat? Sure. Don't spend money on it. You saw how long I had to stare at this bill to figure out why I pulled it. It's because it has 567. So what? 567 or 4567 as an ascending group is meaningless. It's not worth anything. Don't pay money for it. Don't listen to people who are telling you that that is worth something. That is number 9. And once again, I apologize for the delay in trying to identify what it was. I figured I'd remember when I saw it, but it's just that worthless that even staring at it, it took me a moment to figure out why anybody in their right mind would keep something like that. All right, number 8. This is not an error. This is a teller stamp. And the teller stamp here has this number and these arrows on it. Once again, not an error, nothing special about this note. When they put the strap on and then they stamp the strap, sometimes they miss and that goes there. That means this is not a valuable error. Even if you collect different stamps from different banks, it's not worth anything. In fact, If you gathered together 100 of these instead of selling them, if you sent them back to the bank is more than likely going to send them to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve will probably just shred them. That's how worthless they are. The Reserve will shred it. So it is garbage. It is junk. Do not pay money for these. There's plenty to be found in circulation because tellers are just not that accurate when it comes to stamping, because they don't realize there are people that will misinterpret that as an error. So yeah, number 8, that's a teller stamp. That's worthless. Number 7. This, as you can see, has blue ink. It's got some blue ink here. It's got some blue ink here. If we look on the back, it's got blue ink here. This is not an error. Why is this not an error? Because that's blue ink. We don't use blue ink on our bills. So no, people will try to tell you that this is an inking error. It's an ink smear. Well, technically it is an ink smear, but it's an ink smear from a pen. That's clearly blue ink from a pen. And considering that it's on the front and the back, and we only ink one side of the note at a time, there's your proof that it's not worth anything. So yeah, that is number 7, an ink smear from a pen that people will tell you is an error. Not an error, not worth anything. Number 6. Let's see if I can figure out what's wrong with this particular note. Oh, if you look, the 6 is dark. And the 6 is even dark on this side too. But yeah, the 6 in the serial number is dark. So what? That just means that that particular digit on that particular wheel is probably slightly flatter than the others. So the number comes out just a little darker. Not an error, not a big deal. Once again, found in a strap. It's nothing. If you want to save one, great, but don't ever pay more than face value for something like this, because it's not a significant error. All right, that's number 6. Number 5. Here are 2 notes. Nope, here are 2 notes. And they're consecutive, 7, 8, 7, 3, 4, 5, or 3, 5, 4, 9, 7, and 9, 8. They're consecutive notes. What are they worth? They're worth $1 a piece. Notes start off consecutively, and whenever there's a new batch printed, you're likely to find a bunch of consecutive notes because bank tellers don't like dealing with brand new notes. So they tend to take brand new straps, break them up, and put them into straps of older stuff. And that's every time they get a new order. So yeah, it is very common to find notes that are consecutive. It's also very common for a person to get 10 singles from the bank, some of them being consecutive, and then spend those notes together. And then those notes eventually end up at the bank and they're still together and they're still consecutive. So what? There's no additional value for that. What's this note worth? It's worth $1. So putting this note with it does not increase the value. They're still each worth $1. Just because they happen to have consecutive numbers. Like I said, they're brand new crisp bills. That's how they all start. So that's not a rare thing to find notes with consecutive numbers. So that's number 5. Number 4. Let's take a look at this one here. This one right here and right here has a wet ink transfer. So what? If you look at the back of a note, you may not notice it, but right here is the darkest portion. And these lines here are the darkest portion printed on the back. And that's because those are solid. Most of the dark portions of the note are a bunch of lines that are very close together, okay? But this, in the E, those are solid lines. That's a solid line. These are solid lines. Because those are solid and thick, the ink tends to, you get wet ink transfers on the notes. And you can actually hold that up to the light and see exactly where that's coming from. This curve here and the 0 and from the E over here. So yeah, these are just wet ink transfers. They're wet ink transfers from the darkest portion of the back of the previous note. No additional value. I see people all the time trying to say, oh, that's a printing error. No, it is not. It's just a wedding transfer. No big deal. You too can find these all the time when you are hunting notes. So that is number 4. Number 3. Here's another fun one. As most scammers will tell you, let's ignore the first 3 and let's ignore the 09. So now we have 23332. That's a radar. So we've got a mini radar. Or we can look at that first 3 and now we've got a mini binary. What? You also have a mini concept of value. That's what you have there. Just because a portion of the note is a radar does not make the note a radar. Don't fall for that. Don't even bother saving these. I mean, they're just spenders. It's nothing. I don't understand how anyone would pay more than face value for something like this, unless of course they are told that stuff like this is worth more money by people trying to sell crap like this. So this is number 3, the mini radar, which is just going to people with micro brains. Number 2 on the list this week. Look at the last digit. See how the last digit is raised up slightly? So what? It's a raised digit. Some people call these a gas pump error. A gas pump error, because the last digit is slightly raised, it's worth something when the digit is high enough to have a portion of the digit missing, or even worth even more if a portion of the next digit is showing. So yeah, these gas pumps, like I said, I went through one strap. There's one. They're just not that hard to find. Is it, you can't even call it an error, because it's just, if you need to use a ruler to determine if this is a misprint or not, well then it's not a misprint. You want things that are significant in order to make the note worth something. So that is number 2. And finally, number 1, maybe the most controversial one that I found. Check out this serial number. It has a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and then it has 7, 8, 9. People will call this a broken ladder because there are no pairs. And because it's in the wrong order, they'll call it a mixed broken ladder, or a mixed ladder, I guess would be what it would be. And, well, technically this would be a mixed broken ladder because the numbers are not even in order. Like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's missing the 6, and then it goes 7, 8, 9. So you don't have all the numbers together. You don't have the numbers in any particular order, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 5, 8, 1. So there's nothing fascinating about that. Now, if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that would be worth a ton of money. But it's not. In fact, if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's not even what this note would be, because this note would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, which isn't even, that's a broken ladder. There's a spot in it. So it's not even a full ladder. So to find a mixed broken ladder, my eyes do not even focus on something like this. I went through one strap and I found one. And if I happen to spot it when I'm doing my searches, I'll pull them just because they're unique. And, I happen to catch it this time. But they are common enough that I don't even bother to pull them. It's simply a note that doesn't have any pairs in the serial number. No additional value. Is it fun to find? Sure. But if you pulled every one you found, you're going to have a stack of these pretty quick. No additional value on these. Don't try buying these. Don't try selling these. All you're going to do is rip people off and piss people off. We're all supposed to be in this together as a community. And if people are going to try to rip everybody else off, they don't belong in this community. If you see people on YouTube trying to sell any of this stuff, just unsubscribe from them. They don't deserve they don't deserve your views. They don't deserve anything from you, because if you pay any money for any of this stuff, you're falling for a scam. Like I said, all of these were found in one strap. I am now taking all of these, putting them back in the strap, and they're all going right back to the bank because they're worth $1. All right, guys, if you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.